Fischer's Pit Incident. On December 30th, 1972, three friends, 17-year-old Henry Hernandez, 15-year-old Michael Bruggenon, and 16-year-old John Wheeler, residents of Comal County near San Antonio, Texas, learned from a local cave owner about the existence of a nearby cave. They assured the cave owner that they were experienced cavers and knew what they were doing, convincing her to let them explore with a cave map they had found, which outlined a safe route into the 110-foot deep cave. All three boys successfully descended the first drop using a rope ladder, despite not having proper caving equipment. Now, Henry Hernandez was trying to convince them to use a 1/4-inch ski rope to get to the next drop. While negotiating, Henry accidentally stepped over the ledge and fell 35 feet to the bottom of the cave. His two friends panicked and rushed to contact the cave owner, who then alerted the authorities at around 2 p.m. At around 3:30 p.m., the rescue unit arrived to find Henry still conscious and coherent. Upon assessing him, they discovered he had suffered a back injury, which complicated the rescue. The team faced further delays as they lacked the proper equipment needed for this type of extraction. The rescue team secured a rope over a log, and passers-by stopped to help pull Henry to safety. However, they soon realized he had fallen into a coma, possibly due to a skull fracture. This made the rescue even more difficult, as they struggled to maneuver his body through the cave's tight entrance. It took a full 60 minutes to bring him out. The boy was rushed to San Antonio Hospital, but unfortunately, he succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead just 10 minutes before arriving. Dreibelbis Cave Incident. On the evening of October 1st, 1983, a 36-year-old man named Robert Scott and 5 other cavers set out to explore Dreibelbis Cave near Berks County, Pennsylvania. At around 2 a.m., as the group was exiting the cave after successfully exploring it, 36-year-old Robert Scott was about 75 feet from the entrance, making his way through a narrow, vertical crevice. Scott's hand slipped, causing his body to drop down, and he suddenly found himself wedged left side down in the narrowest part of the crevice. The crevice was 80 feet high and 12 inches wide, narrowing to just 7 or 8 inches in the middle before widening again below. The walls were rounded and coated in slimy mud, leaving him completely trapped with no way to free himself. For about 8 hours, his companions desperately tried to pull him out, but were unsuccessful. At 9:30 a.m. Sunday, they left to seek outside help. In my opinion, they should have called for help much earlier. There was no clear reason why at least one of them couldn't have left to get help sooner. Volunteers from 4 different fire departments arrived and attempted to free Robert, but they were unsuccessful. A few hours later, trained rescuers arrived to assist. At first, Scott remained calm, but as the hours passed, his condition worsened. He started cursing at the rescuers. As an epileptic, he was given medication twice to prevent seizures, but this did not improve his state. Rescue teams attempted multiple strategies to free him. A rope line was strung through the passage above him, and slings were placed around his body to lift him vertically. However, each time they made progress, Scott thrashed violently, preventing further action. Sensors were attached to monitor his vital signs. Heat packs, lights, and hair dryers were used to keep him warm. He was fed coffee, hot dogs, and donuts. His body was greased, and plastic sheets were placed on the walls to reduce friction. Inflatable airbags were positioned under him in hopes of lifting him when inflated. Despite their efforts, nothing worked. Meanwhile, Scott continued to scream and curse at those trying to save him. As the situation worsened, rescuers requested permission to administer a sedative, but local doctors refused. In a desperate attempt to override this decision, they tried to contact a doctor in California for approval. At around 7 a.m. Monday morning, while delivering another tantrum, Scott's vital signs suddenly ceased and he lost consciousness. Medics administered oxygen and infusions, but nothing revived him. With no other options, rescuers resorted to painful extraction methods. Using the high line and slings, they dragged his body up and out of the crevice. He was finally freed at 12:25 p.m. Hopes that he had entered a state of deep hypothermia were quickly shattered. He was pronounced dead shortly after.